I've been thinking about survivorship bias. I don't have a particularly good definition for it. I'll link to some stuff down below. When it comes to talking about your career, often successful people don't really understand why they've succeeded, but they think they do, and they overvalue certain actions that they took that sort of fit their perception of themselves. A lot of people telling you why and how they succeeded, they don't really know. Now, I want to talk about my career and talk about some of the stuff I've learned so far, but I don't want to talk about why I think things have gone well, because I don't really know. But I think we all know when we screw up. I think we all know when we make mistakes, and I'm really interested in learning other people's hard lessons the easy way. So today I thought I would share 3 mistakes that I have made in my career early on, back when I worked for other people, that may be helpful for you, wherever you are in your career. First mistake, I did not really truly understand the gap between information, knowledge, and wisdom. I was a rabid collector of information. I was frenzied at times. I would buy any book on coffee that I could get my hands on. I would troll eBay and like Abe Books and used books sort of sellers online for anything that had coffee in the title. And I probably ended up with a library of close to 200 books at one point. And I read a lot of them. And I thought that this would give me an edge, that this would give me, an advantage in my career. It made me really good at trivia games to do with coffee. And that was really it. I'd collected enormous amounts of coffee trivia. It wasn't knowledge. I hadn't converted that information into knowledge through practice. And it certainly wasn't wisdom, which comes with a function of using that knowledge over a period of time. It was just trivia. And I think it's easy to fall into that trap. And these days it may not be buying books, but it may be just which videos you've watched, who you follow on social media, what blog posts you read, if people still wrote blog posts. Let's pretend they do. It's the kind of collection of information without really the application of it, wherein real learning happens. And I got that wrong for a long time. I don't necessarily regret a lot of the learning I did. I think it really deepened my appreciation for coffee and the breadth and depth of coffee. It sort of hooked me in a way that kept me in the industry for a long time. But I think I massively overvalued that information because I hadn't really worked out how to make it useful. Second mistake, I lacked empathy for my employer. Now this sounds like a really weird thing, but go with me for just a second. In our careers, early on, in the middle, wherever we are, we have our career goals and we will chase those down and we will apply ourselves through hard work and dedication to achieve those goals. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that's a good thing. But there's more than one pathway to achieving your goals. And I did not really think about the perspective of my employer often when I was chasing down my goals. This meant that there were often points of friction, times when we butted heads, where I felt I was just trying to do my job to the best of my ability and to pursue my goals. And that I was frustrated with them because they just clearly didn't understand that. They lacked empathy towards me, but in truth, I lacked empathy towards them, their challenges, their needs. And had I been a little bit smarter, I could have chased down exactly those same goals in a slightly different way that would have worked much more in harmony with what they were after, what they were trying to achieve too. I'm a little embarrassed looking back at the way I behaved, at how I acted, at how I felt, because it was in many ways incredibly selfish and inwardly focused. And that's just part of, I guess, often being young, being naive, and I was so embarrassed that, I did at some point later on, once I'd been an employer, call my previous employer to apologize. I think I've talked about that before, but this was really it. I just lacked empathy, and I could have achieved my goals in a way quicker, way better way that would have been way more valuable to that employer to boot. A lesson learned. Number 3, I massively overvalued technical coffee skills. Now the easiest example of one of these is going to be latte art, right? I thought latte art was really important. In truth, I attached way more value to it because it made me feel good. There's probably a separate discussion about latte art to be had outside of this video. But I would, value these very technical skills. Now the world of coffee has changed and is changing all the time, and certainly 10 years ago, if you were in a coffee business, you were looking for people with coffee skills, with technical coffee skills. They were very useful at that time because they were somewhat rare. What I didn't value were other skills outside of coffee. And I could have easily pursued other sort of skill sets alongside things I was learning in coffee, but I really just doubled down purely on coffee. Now, by the time I started my own business, I realized I had enormous shortfalls in what I knew in my education and my understanding around the world of coffee business. These days, I speak to more and more people who are hiring, and they don't just want pure coffee skill sets anymore. They want coffee plus something else. Be it marketing, be it finance, be it customer service, be it anything really. Like there are more opportunities for you if you have a slightly broader skill set. I'm not saying don't learn about coffee. Absolutely learn about coffee and go as deep as you want to, but don't do it at the expense of learning additional skills. I think as the coffee world evolves, those additional skills make you incredibly desirable. And, I regret perhaps being, again, a bit blinkered and a little bit focused at that time. So there you go. There's 3 mistakes that I made pretty early on in my career. I'll talk about other mistakes I've made more recently and in the last 10 years in another video. For now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Am I being harsh to myself? Am I being ridiculous? Or maybe is there something to be learned in all of these mistakes that I made? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.